879 men were lost in that sinking. 316 survived.
It is the greatest loss of life in U.S. naval history, and you can read about the USS Indianapolis in what's being called a gripping book by two San Diego authors.
New at 5:30, 10 News reporter Travis Rice talked to them about their book and writing history.
So just after midnight on July 30th, 1945,
it's an event that's the subject of countless tributes.
the Japanese commander fired 6 torpedoes.
The sinking of the USS Indianapolis.
This story is important every year.
These are the women behind the award-winning book, Indianapolis.
I spent 17 years interviewing the survivors of this and the family members of those lost at sea. And, you know, one of the things they taught me very early on was that you never give up.
It's written cinematically and filled with the first-hand accounts of the men that had to fend off sharks and each other at sea for 4 days.
They were all covered with this black fuel oil. And so they would look at their best friend next to them and say, "Oh my gosh, you're Japanese." And they would attack each other in the water. So a lot of the men died in that way from attacks, one man on another.
It catalogs the sailors' glorious return, which started here.
They actually arrived in San Diego, and that was the first time they were back in the States. And they arrived to a parade down Broadway. And, you know, you imagine driving down there, what it looked like in 1945. And there's some great photographs of that, you know, that parade.
Then there's the half-century battle for the captain's reputation.
For 50 years, the world believed that Captain McVeigh was at fault, or at least the Navy said he was at fault. But the survivors, to a man, never blamed Captain McVeigh for this disaster, and they fought for him for 50 years.
The authors say it's a true story that embodies just about everything this country holds dear.
Getting to know these men and their story and the heroism and what it took to survive those days is incredible. And it's something, you know, it still teaches us lessons today of what the cost of freedom really is and what we should be remembering, especially on this Memorial Day holiday.
Travis Rice, 10 News.
17 years documenting those interviews.
Such a remarkable story. Yeah. Now, the authors are in talks with several streaming services to turn this into a miniseries.
Wow.